Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Driving with Mom Trunks teen. We're going to be taking a look at him at a Rainbow and a Link level 10 level. So Trunks teen is going to get his EZA relatively soon on Global. It'll be coming with, I think, the next one or two ESPR stages. Forgive me if it is already out. This video was from a little bit of a while back. Like last week or something. But anyway, basically this video or this unit is a pretty interesting unit. He's an SPR reward, so you get him by completing the 5th set of original Super Battle Road stages, and overall he's a pretty cool unit. Vegeta's family lead of 120%, raises attacking defense on his 12 key, raises attacking defense on his 18 key, and he's got a very interesting passive, a little bit kind of flexible in a lot of places. He's got attack and defense, 80%. He gets key +1, chance of evading attacks, plus 15% per Vegeta's family category ally attacking in the same turn. So 30% evasion, which isn't huge, but it's nice. Then he gets defense at 60% and gives all allies 3-hit key if he's the first attacker. If he's the second attacker, he gets an additional attack and defense at 30%, and Vegeta's family category allies get key 3 as well. And then if he is the third attacker, he gets key 3 and he gets a huge 60% attack boost. So kind of like interesting flexi pick positioning for him. He can either be more of a floating attacker, he can be more of just a generic key support, or he can be a little bit tankier in the first slot. Now, Royal Lineage, Same Warriors, Sand Lineage, Core Judgment, Shocking Speed, Messenger from the Future, and Legendary Power are a decent link set. He's on quite a few categories: Hybrid Sands, Trusted Will, Time Travelers, Bond the Parent and Child, Vegeta's Family, etc. His EZA that's coming out is very, very nice, but is also a little bit strange as well, because it essentially changes him to be way more reliant on having a Bulma or a Trunks character, so either a Bulma on the team or a Trunks character, which isn't too bad. But then he gets a big boost to like his evasion, his crit chance, and just a lot in general, and he becomes a bit better overall. He hasn't really changed too much though functionally, which is a little bit of a shame. But still, Trunks is a very interesting unit, and I think flexi picking him like this is something that overall can be quite interesting a lot of the time. I think when it comes to units like Trunks, who are SPR rewards, a lot of the times these units age out pretty badly, because usually they're designed on the time period that they are kind of obviously made to come out for, but even then they're not really designed for the events that come after that. So back in the day they used to release 10 SPR stages. When you beat those, you would have a decent unit for precisely that moment in time. And then, 2 months later, some new event difficulty comes, and all of a sudden that unit's struggling. So it is kind of the case, and the EZAs feel the same way. The one that has stood the test of time is Physical Gohan Kid. As long as you have a Goku, he's still kind of tanky, which I think is really good. Trunks' flexible nature does make him very interesting, and he is a unit that does have some very cool facilitation on a Vegeta's family team. I think right now, as he is, obviously without his EZA, he's not anything crazy. 2 million, 3 million, 4 million attack stats, defense of 130,000 to 140,000, and really not increasing it that much. Maybe if you're lucky, you're looking at 200k defense. Not terrible, but not anything crazy. It's not like able to take on endgame content in any way, shape, or form. A very interesting unit, but not a particularly OP character. And I think that's just kind of how it is. I think what he does lack, and they don't really remedy it with his EZA, is he does not give allies anything. He gives key, but key supports nowadays are not something that's that important, if I'm being honest. Being a key support nowadays is just not really as useful as it used to be. Key was a much bigger factor back in the day, but nowadays it's just really not something that's as important. A lot of units have built-in key mechanics, a lot of units have built-in orb mechanics, a lot of supports give a ton of key. So right now I would not advocate for him to be looking too solid. I think his EZA makes him solid, but I do think Trunks' kit, the way they've designed it is nice, but the implementation of it is not great. I think having units that change or fluctuate per slot is way more interesting when they're a bit closer to like the Gohan and Piccolo. Like Gohan and Piccolo, you know, when they're in the first or second slot, they get, you know, damage reduction, they get like a lot of much more beneficial things. And I think if you look at this Trunks, he doesn't get enough really. He gets more defense if he's first slot, but not like he's getting enough defense to be a first slot tank. He gets a little bit more attack and defense in the second slot, which is probably his best position, and still gives out ki. And then the third slot, he becomes what, a bit of a damage dealer, but again, nothing too wild. I do think he's a fun unit, but I think Vegeta's family is also just not consistent enough as a category for him to truly shine. And I think, yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, that's just where he's at. Of course, link-wise, you want to focus on ki, Saiyan lineage, shocking speed. Saiyan lineage, shocking speed. You can also look at like getting Cold Judgment. Definitely highly advisable, just due to the overall strength of Cold Judgment, you know, as a link. Like its defensive capabilities and all of that's very good. Saiyan lineage is also solid, obviously as a key link. And then you do have on top of that, you do have a couple other links like royal lineage. But yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, I think Trunks is a fun unit, but I just don't find him to have enough specific utility to be great. I think maybe after his EZA he could be a good floating damage dealer. I think right now that's also probably his best position. So floating him in the third slot and he'll do some decent damage and his defense will be solid-ish. So that is definitely probably his best position right now as a unit and just in general. But we'll have to see when his EZA comes out. For now, he is still a fun unit, and I do like the concepts that they used to do with the SBR units, but I can kind of see why they swapped them out for support memories. I just think the way they aged and released and it's just very difficult, because you're designing the first stage based on what a unit is at that point. Other content then determines how they grow, and you can kind of feel that with Trunks. But that's it from me. Bye.